What's written in the stars for ZEBEC network in 2026 isn't luck, it's alignment. The kind of alignment that only happens when technology, timing, and real-world demand all converge at once. ZEBEC network is no longer just an idea being tested in the market. It's evolving into infrastructure quietly, steadily, and with increasing precision. As ZEBEC continues expanding beyond its early foundations, one thing becomes clear. This isn't a project chasing hype cycles. It's building a system designed to outlast them. The deeper integrations with networks like Stellar Signal and Major shift in direction from isolated innovation to interconnected finance. That shift matters more than most people realize, because the future of finance won't be built in silos. It will be built through systems that connect, communicate, and scale together. 2026 is not about speculation. It's about momentum turning into mass usage. For years, the concept of streaming payroll sounded futuristic. Pay employees by the second, eliminate delays, remove friction from how money moves. But now, that future is beginning to materialize. Businesses are starting to recognize the inefficiencies of traditional payroll systems, delayed payments, administrative overhead, and rigid cycles that don't reflect how people actually live and work. ZEBEC flips that model entirely. Instead of waiting 2 weeks or a month to access earnings, individuals receive value in real time. Money becomes fluid. Work and compensation become synchronized. And as more companies adopt the system, it stops being a novelty and starts becoming a standard. This isn't just a better user experience. It's a fundamental redesign of how value flows through the economy. That's where ZBCM positions itself, not on the edge, but at the center of this transformation. The implications go far beyond payroll. Real-time payment infrastructure reshapes everything: subscriptions, remittances, contractor payments, even everyday spending. Imagine a world where money doesn't sit idle, where it moves continuously, adapting to real-life needs. Bills could be paid incrementally, services charged by the second, and financial planning becomes more dynamic and responsive. That's the direction ZEBEC is building toward: a living, breathing financial system where value is always in motion. And the timing couldn't be more important. Global finance is undergoing a structural shift. The demand for faster, cheaper, and more transparent payment systems is growing across both developed and emerging markets. Traditional banking rails are struggling to keep up. Settlement times, cross-border fees, and operational inefficiencies are no longer acceptable in a digital-first world. This is where ZEBEC's alignment with broader financial infrastructure becomes critical. By integrating with networks that focus on settlement and liquidity, ZEBEC strengthens its role as the movement layer, the mechanism that actually delivers money in real time. It doesn't compete with these systems. It complements them. Together, they form a more complete financial stack: assets, liquidity, and movement, all working in sync. That's not just innovation. That's infrastructure. And infrastructure tends to scale quietly before it becomes obvious. The stars for ZBCN in 2026 point toward growth driven by utility, not speculation. More partnerships are likely, not just within crypto, but with real-world businesses looking to modernize their payment systems, fintech platforms, payroll providers, and even governments. Exploring digital payment frameworks could become part of this expanding ecosystem. As adoption increases, the network effect begins to take hold. Each new integration adds value, not just individually, but collectively. Liquidity improves, transaction volume increases, reliability strengthens, and over time, the system becomes more resilient and more indispensable. This is how ecosystems are built, not overnight, but layer by layer. Global reach will expand as well. Real-time payments are not a luxury. They're a necessity in many parts of the world, where access to efficient financial systems is limited. In regions where banking infrastructure is outdated or inaccessible, the ability to receive and send money instantly can be transformative. ZEBEC has the potential to bridge that gap, offering a solution that is both accessible and scalable. It doesn't just improve existing systems. It creates new opportunities where systems were previously broken or non-existent. As infrastructure matures, something important happens: perception changes. ZBCN transitions from being seen as a promising project to being recognized as essential financial rails. The difference is significant. Projects come and go. Infrastructure stays, evolves, and becomes embedded in everyday life. Think about the systems people rely on today. Most of them are invisible. You don't think about them, but they power everything you do. Payment networks, cloud services, internet protocols, they operate quietly in the background, enabling the modern world. That's the trajectory ZEBEC is aiming for. Not attention, but adoption. Not hype, but integration. Not noise, but necessity. And that's where long-term value is created. Of course, None of this happens overnight. Growth at this level requires time, consistency, and execution. It requires navigating regulatory environments, scaling technology, and building trust with users and institutions alike. But the foundation being built now is what determines the scale. Later, the alignment we're seeing between technology, partnerships, and market demand is what sets the stage. This is the phase where vision meets reality. For early believers, this is also the phase where patience is tested. Markets move in cycles, narratives shift, and attention flows from one trend to another. But underlying all of that noise, real systems continue to develop. They don't need constant validation, they just need time to grow. ZEBEC's journey into 2026 reflects that principle. It's not about chasing short-term price action. It's about building something that can sustain long-term usage. And as that usage increases, value tends to follow, not instantly, but inevitably. Another key factor that could define 2026 is user experience. As the technology matures, onboarding becomes simpler, interfaces become smoother, and the barrier to entry decreases. What once required technical knowledge becomes accessible to everyday users. This is where adoption accelerates, not just because the system works, but because it becomes easy to use. Ease of use is often the final piece that turns powerful technology into mass market infrastructure. The idea of what's written in the stars isn't about certainty, it's about direction, and the direction for ZBC endpoints toward deeper integration into the global financial system, toward becoming a core component of how money moves in a digital economy, toward a future where real-time payments are not just possible, but expected. That future is closer than most people think, because once a better system exists, adoption doesn't happen slowly, it accelerates. Businesses optimize, users adapt, competitors respond, and what once felt revolutionary becomes routine. ZEBEC is positioning itself for that moment, a moment where real-time finance is no longer an innovation but an expectation. So as 2026 unfolds, the real story won't just be in charts or headlines. It will be in usage, in the number of people receiving payments in real time, in the businesses shifting away from outdated systems, in the silent replacement of legacy infrastructure by something faster, more efficient, and more aligned with the modern world. It will be seen in transaction flows, not just price movements, in adoption curves, not just speculation cycles. That's the kind of growth that lasts. For Satoshi Guy, and for anyone paying attention, this isn't just another cycle. It's a transition from ideas to infrastructure, from potential to reality, from promise to proof. And if the current alignment holds, what's written in the stars for ZBCN isn't just growth, it's transformation. A transformation in how money moves, a transformation in how people get paid, a transformation in how financial systems operate at a global scale. And once that transformation takes hold, there's no going back.